Hello, good people. Welcome again to Happy, Healthy, Whole with Sharia. I am your host, Sharia Farmer, and I am excited again for you to join us on another opportunity to talk healing and self-love and prioritizing ourselves as Black women. So, that being said, today's topic is one of those things that I love to talk about, which is Black joy, but specifically finding joy and purpose in life while battling depression. We talked about depression, I think, last week, just in general, and I gave you an overview of some signs and symptoms, but also just really reinforcing the fact that you deserve the support and the help that you need. So make sure to get that help. But today we're going to talk how to find joy and purpose in a life battling depression and or other areas of mental well-being that can be struggling for us or can be a lot for us. So let's talk about it first. That being said, what is joy? I guess let me go back. Let me go back for a second. If we think about it from the perspective of battling depression, let's talk depression really quickly because we've already done that. We talked about a little bit about how depression is about really looking at and maintaining yourself through challenges, and in some cases challenges that are difficult for you to get through, and making sure that you can identify the signs that are specific to what you deal with when it comes to depression. But what is it when we talk about, you know, finding joy and finding these everyday moments of peace and solitude, and this kind of acceptance of the moment? Really, when we're talking about that, we're talking about participating in moments that are about honoring, being present and intentional, and celebrating not just a moment, but the opportunities to express pleasure and through activities and meaningful connections. And so I think of a simple thing that we might do alone might be reading a book and having a warm cup of tea or coffee with us as we're reading, or calling a friend and laughing through the night over your childhood memories, and or talking about each other's children currently, and what they're doing in life and school, and just the good things that we might be expressing. So those are examples. But really, what it means is that we have these moments to be intentional about exploring, expressing meaningful activities that support our well being and our sense of purpose and connection to others and self. And so, how do we find this? I think finding purpose can be like really this transformative thing, but it also is such a challenge for most of us as we're thinking about healing and dealing with life, and really trying to consider what are we even passionate about. And so I always say, starting with our interests, finding purpose is all about looking where you are, and if they're not there, developing them. So finding things that you're interested in, creating hobbies. If you don't have hobbies, try to do things until you like, right? So I didn't know I liked certain dance classes until I took them. I didn't know that I liked to write as much until I actually started writing every day consistently and making myself do prompts, right? Really finding ways to actually create the hobby versus saying I don't have one. And then if you don't like it, try something else. The reality is that if you're finding purpose, it may take time, and it may take you looking at different ways to get to that purpose. And so for me, I just use the example of writing and reading, but those are examples that are real, or dance classes. Those are examples that are real. I wouldn't have challenged myself during the pandemic to actually get my certification in Zumba dancing if I didn't just say, hey, I like dancing. Let me try it. Let me go to a couple classes. And then, all right, now I'm going to take these instructor classes just for the purpose of me and enjoying it. Not for teaching classes, not for doing anything more than just seeing how far can I go in this thing that I enjoy, and then finding that meaningfulness in it. What was the purpose of it for me? It was really to explore, to be connected, to laugh, to be able to move my body physically during a pandemic when we weren't doing as much outside as we are now. So really thinking about how can I find these purpose, and what can I do to participate in them so that I can make sure that it's what I want to do, and or actually what I'm interested in around passion and connection. I use that example, but you can use that for almost any area of your life that you're looking, right? One of my girlfriends during the pandemic realized that she felt really called to ministry. And so she decided that she was going to focus on not just Bible studies, but actually seeing if there were courses that she could increase her knowledge around preaching and being able to actually explain and teach the Bible. And so that was something that was important for her and her area of purpose and passion. You can do this in almost any area of our wellness in terms of finding that purpose. So think about it for your own self. Where can I start? Start by, if you don't have hobbies now, just making a list of things that you would be willing to even put yourself out there to try and just start going through them. That's just a real basic step. And then finding meaning in each of them. Because once you can find that hobby, in order for it to be really connected to a purpose and to drive you to want to keep doing it, you really got to find that meaningful connection to it where it feels like there's a sense of purpose and a sense of joy in it that makes you just happy to even just do it. Think about getting the support you might need. If you are struggling and can't figure it out on your own, we talked about this specifically when it comes to depression and getting help. While you're in there doing the work, you can also be talking about what would joy look like for me. Therapy can be a part of actually finding purpose and joy. Being able to go and say, I want to deal with this grief. I want to deal with this loss. I want to be able to take this baggage from the trauma that I experienced in my childhood off of me and do life differently can be a awesome way to start finding joy in the moment and finding a way to support yourself in the process of healing and finding that purpose throughout your life. So think about therapy as an option. Think about support groups. Think about community groups that are around like healing circles and different things like that. There's always opportunities to find your joy and to find your purpose within that joy. Therapy can also be very important for helping you to kind of get guidance around navigating your symptoms, your signs, and the things that trigger you in your depression, so that you can also be working towards not just dealing with or navigating depression, but also trying to prevent episodes that put you in a place that you don't want to be. Right. So finding that joy can be a part of getting that help. And then I think as we kind of close out, remember you are not defined by any form of depression or any form of um, area that you're struggling in your life, that these are moments sometimes that most of us and if not all of us go through, and maybe we just have to do it differently to get ourselves out of it. You have the strength to find your joy. You have what it takes to live your purpose in your life. You are deserving of those things. And so if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, like it. I mean, if you found this podcast, but I mean, it's going in between podcast and video at this point. Please make sure to subscribe to either our channels, either here on YouTube and or our podcast where you'll hear this as well. Feel free to take care. Feel free to reach out and or tell me what you would like to hear me talk about surrounding healing and self-love specifically. Make sure to take good care of yourselves. Be well.